All right, so I'm going to attempt to do my coil. It's a part number, all AC Delco parts, and my ignition control module. I just want to point out it's important to smear the grease, which is in this little satchel here, on the metal part of this because it helps to transfer the heat from the unit to the heat sump. Now, in all the videos I watched, they talked about having to remove the bracket for the throttle cables and whatnot. Now, of course, this is the van, so in order to do that, we have to remove the air box and the intake here. And yeah, typical van stuff. So here it is, and I noticed all these wires overlap in here. I'm going to run this wire underneath the new one, or the one that goes to the coil, when I put it back together. And I've got some of this wire loom I want to put on here to help protect things. So I'll do all that at the same time. All right, so I put some loom on this one here. This goes to one of the new sensors I put in up there, but I'm going to put some loom around this wire and these three. I noticed that in another video. It could just help with stuff. And the next step, which is really the first step, is unplugging your coil, unplugging your both wires, the one that goes to the distributor, one here, and then your wire that goes to the ICM as well. It'll come right out of there. There's that screen doing its job. Well, yeah, gotta unplug this. I think we gotta unplug this. We gotta take all this off of here. Looks like I gotta add some wire loom to these too. Okay, so I gotta get in here with a 8mm. Lost my short 8mm socket. I think that's the one I lost at Dave's house. It fell down into the engine compartment here. We couldn't find it on the ground anywhere. Here's your mass airflow sensor unit, the whole thing there, which actually has some crud in it. I can see. I should probably blow that out again. Alright, so here's your bracket for your throttle cables, and you have to unbolt that. There's a bolt underneath that you're looking at the center of the screen. It looks like I have to remove this plastic part of the intake. I'm going to put a rag in there too to keep debris from falling in. I just unhooked this breather tube there, and I'll just keep moving. One of the things that makes this a little bit more difficult is the extra bracket that holds the tube for the oil check, filler tube. That's actually attached to the bracket, the throttle cable bracket. So a little bit of a hassle, and I got to get in the front here with a screwdriver. I think I'm pointing at it right now to get the plug off of that ICM. So it's just tedious stuff, but there's two bolts, or a few bolts to hold this bracket in place. That comes off. Then there's two bolts on the manifold up there that hold the bracket for the ICM and coil on. And something I don't have that I should have is I need a 1/4 inch drive swivel and a 3/8 inch drive swivel. That is what I need. I've got them all for 1/2 inch. More than I could ever, a ton of them for 1/2 inch. But, man, that's tight. Okay. All right, well, once you break it free, it'll spin right out of there. I just dropped it. Great. Time to break out the magnet. Now, I think I lost that bolt behind where the, looks like where the thermostat goes in. That's a nightmare to find that. I can't get this in here without a swivel. This is a little bit of a mini nightmare here. Can't do it. I gotta come in from the inside the van, it looks like. So, don't need to show you everything. Listen, by the way, there is a ton of videos on this process. Mostly for the S10s where you can clearly visually see what you need to do. So this is just showing you how tedious it is with the van. There's some things inside the van that are easier to get to, like when you're working on your distributor and things on the back side of the engine. It's actually nicer to work inside your van than on some other regular automobiles. But in this case, whenever you're working in something in this general area, it's more complicated because the body of the vehicle is right where you're trying to work. You guys know how it is. I got to get inside the van, straddle the engine with my legs, and reach in with this ratchet to get to that front bolt on that throttle cable bracket. Joys of van life. I hope I can find that bolt that fell out. Otherwise it's going to be a major thing, you know. That was just a don't lose this stuff. Okay, I have a bolt back here. Just can't get in it from the top. All the stuff in the way. Bracket off here. I'm going to do that from the front. Frustrating. Guess there's another bolt on this. I can't see it. Ah, crap. Yeah, I see it. It's straight down right here. Hang on. All right. I need to stand up on something. Height challenged. It's no fun. It's not hard. It's just tedious, as I say all the time. I don't know if this is going to be a hole. Okay, yeah. So what I took off on the inside, so there's 3 brackets for this throttle body. I say 3 brackets, 3 bolts. It's really a nut and then 2 of these bolts that have nuts on them. I think that's what's going on. That's what it looks like. Okay, it's definitely free. If I try to lift up on it in there, I'm probably going to lose it like I lost the last one. So I'm going to use this magnet here. Oh, look at that. It was just a nut. So I definitely would have lost that if I didn't use a magnet. So there's a good tip for you. I'm hoping I can find the other one. Okay, so this comes off. You just kind of place this to the side. And now I can see that underneath this, when they say place to the side, they can place this to the side in a normal vehicle. But in the van, you got to find a way to tuck this. It's spring loaded. And there's no way to keep that in place. Okay, so there's one more of those bolts with the nut on it holding the ICM bracket in place. And I'm going to have to get in here with a flashlight before I start buttoning things up and look for that other bolt. I can run the truck without it, but it's going to be a hassle. It's going to scare me a little, I suppose. Who knows whatever happened to my old 8mm socket I lost when I was working over at Dave's. Okay, so everything is in the way. This tube's in my way. Need a shorter extension. Try that out. All right. Of course, I'm standing up on a bench. Okay, where am I? Okay, this just wants to not cooperate. I have to recreate this body position for you for a still for the video, so you can see what I'm doing. Oh man, I can't break this free like this. God damn it. That thing's on there. It should be on there. I'm the one who put it on. I'm going to try to get that from inside the van. Definitely easier from in here. I'll zoom in on that for you, so you can see me pull it out from in there. I don't know what you'll be able to see from here. There it is. I'm using a deep socket because there's a lot of these studs here. All right, just want to point out at this moment I am 45 minutes into this job now. Some of that was me putting some wire loom on, and some of the other wires, which you'll see when I put all this back together, and then the rest of it was fiddling around with all these bolts and everything. So just so you know, you could probably get this far without any issues in 20-25 minutes. All right. All those crud off of here. A lot of crud. I'll clean this up before I start working on it too much. All these parts are getting ripped off of this bracket, so the only thing I'm reusing is this aluminum, this finned aluminum part here. Yeah, the bracket's in pretty good shape. I thought I might have to paint it up, but I think I'll be okay with that. But I just wanted to point this out to you. Oh, look, there's a part number on it, so that's interesting. This is riveted on. So you got to grind these rivets off first. And the new one comes with a bag of parts. So you put it all back together. Hey, more fun. I tried a 5 and 6 millimeter socket on these nuts here. That's not the size. It's actually a, what is this? 7/32 is what you need for these things here. Incredible. One thing after another. This ratchet is ready for the garbage. Just strips out on me all the time. New one didn't come with new bolts, so I have to reuse these. And there we have it. So that's where you put the grease on here. We have to clean this up and keep it. And this one here is the garbage one. Nothing moves in it. Matches up well to the new one. All right, on to the next thing. All right, I'm going to attempt to get these off with this Dremel. It's a Bosch. This thing will overheat on you and shut down. That's better. Let's flip it around. All right. Should be able to knock that apart now. Should kind of come right apart for us. You know what? I got a large screwdriver here, and maybe I'll just break that free. Yep, that worked. All right, so I'm going to clean these parts up, put it together with the new one, and we'll be in business. I want to make sure you took pictures along the way like I did. You'll see them inserted here so you remember your orientation for this thing. And actually, that's wrong. It goes this way. Boom. And the ICM gets mounted out here, and this goes into the bracket like this. So, yeah. I just remember that the coil wire goes to the distributor, and this ICM goes over here, and there's a wire that goes to that in the front of the vehicle. That's it. And there's a little lock nuts here. You have the little spinner lock nut on the back side of it. So let's get this on there and tighten it. Let's find out if that's standard or metric. It's incredible. Incredible, I tells you. Anyhow, I hope this is all on camera. My fat fingers are not designed for these tiny little parts here. Alright, so I'll snug all that down, and then I got to clean this up, get that on there, and then bolt the ICM to it, and then reinstall it, which will be another fun escapade. Hey, of course, guess what? 7 mil. It's incredible, man. I'm telling you. Nothing can be simple. I got my all-purpose wrench here. I'm going to tighten this up. You don't need to watch all that. You know how this works. Right, so I do a lot of bike work, as some of you guys know. And this is normally my thing with aluminum. I'll just throw some WD-40 on there and hit it with some 4-aught steel wool. Usually cleans it up pretty good. This had grease on both sides of it, so I'm going to try to do that on the reinstall. They don't give you a lot of grease. Dave had somebody who was going to bring me, well, he wanted me to pick it up, but I didn't have the time. I was too busy working. And so we'll see how it goes. There's no funk inside these fins really, but I do have a brush. I'm going to throw it down the center of that real quick. A brass brush I picked up at, I think it was a 99-cent store. It's come in handy for a lot of stuff. I've referred to this as a heat sink. I think that's pretty accurate. Heat dissipator, whatever. It's aluminum, and I just want to get all the crud off of this. Once I'm done brushing it off, I'll run some rags or paper towels or something in between these fins here, and then I'll be able to reinstall it. And we are officially an hour and 15 minutes into this. So I'm getting between the fins here, kind of cramming that in there and running that through, getting quite a bit of funk out of there. I hate having dirty fingernails. They're still painting them from yesterday. Anyhow, I'll keep cleaning this out and be together in a minute. I feel like I want most of this stuff on here. I'm supposed to smear it on the back of this thing. Doesn't come with a lot of it. You want to be careful with this. I'll open the package up and get the rest out for the other side, I think. Okay. I take the arm of this screwdriver here. Spread that out across there like that. Keep in mind, as you tighten this thing down, it's gonna spread more. kind of wish I was at Dave's house. I'd like to have more of this stuff. I don't feel like it's enough. I mean, it's what it comes with, so you got to figure. I don't know. I don't know if you could figure that anybody's figuring anything right anymore. There we go. Let's open this up. I hope this is all on camera. I had it zoomed in pretty tight there. Just trying to show you what I'm going through, man. Because it's not a fun, it's not super fun here, you know. So I get as much of this on this thing as possible. But like I said, when I took this apart, and I'm pretty sure it's all factory, that it had some on the back side of here too. I'm sorry, it's on here and then on the back side of this. So anyhow, so I'll be honest with you, I wish there was more of this in here. Just feel like it's not a lot. I think it's more important to have this coated, so that's what I'm doing. Now we're back to the, what was it, 730 seconds? Yep. All right, tighten this up, and the next step is to put it all back together. I don't want to over tighten that thing. That's pretty good. All right. So I'll wipe it down, put it all back together. And this is why right here you have magnets in your toolkit. That thing was wedged behind that, you know, where the thermostat bolts in. There's just a little space in there, so I reached in with a tiny screwdriver and was able to pry it straight up, and I was able to get it with this thing and pull it out of there. Thank God. You guys know that yoga pose, pigeon? That's what I just did. I was laying on the floor between the seats, my knee up in my chest, this leg underneath over by the brake pedal, shoulder tucked under the dash so I could reach in and get the front bolt on that bracket. What a friggin' nightmare. Alright, so I'm putting that bolt on the front of the throttle body there. I'm using this Husky ratchet I picked up at the swap meet. And then on the bottom there, it's two nuts. I got to do one probably from the inside, I'm not sure. But this is the bolt. It's like it's a threaded bolt with a nut on it. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've done this before. That's the one I just lost and recovered. It has been a nightmare. Whew. So you want to own a van? Yeah, well, you know, have all these tools and be a bit of a contortionist. Definitely need a little contortionist training. Do some yoga, learn how to breathe. Calm yourself so you don't go crazy and start throwing crap. I used to be that guy. I used to throw stuff all over the place when I got angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. All right, that was a fail. Hopefully this is smarter. A little electrical tape around the very edge of that. No magnet, just an extension. This is probably smarter. Yeah, because the magnet didn't have a way to, you know, that wasn't gonna thread the, didn't think about that. As I was spinning the magnet, nothing was happening. I'm sure all you mechanics are going, that's not gonna work. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, you know, you get a little punchy here with this. I'm supposed to do another job after this, I'm thinking about. I got some people in the yard here distracting me, but It is their house. All right, that one's on. I'm going to go ahead and put the other one on, which I guess I can get from here too, but I left that inside the van. All right, here's another one. I'm using this wooden stool you saw. Oh man, this is tough because this one is right where I did this from inside before. There's this filler tube, that thing for the oil. It's right where I got to do this. Yeah, it's not going to work. There we go. You can't see. I'm sure my arm's blocking it, but you got to go between the ICM and the this tube here for to check your oil level, whatever the hell that's called. Again, mechanics laugh, 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 laughity, laugh, laugh. All right, that's snug. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put my cover on, get this button back up, and I've got some, what am I doing? I'm putting that plastic wire loom on some of the more wires in there, and I might spray out my mass airflow sensor real quick. I don't know. I even want to put some of that wire loom on this here and make things neat, and then put it all back together and start the van up. Loose. All right, back to work. I hope this video is helpful to you guys. I don't know if it is. It's one of those typical tedious van, just tighten up this 8mm hose clamp, ties your mass airflow sensor here into your intake manifold, that plastic piece. That just clips on, folds over, and there's a wing nut, plastic wing nut that goes on there. I put some new wire loom on here. It's the Harbor Freight wire loom, so let's not all get too excited. It's supposed to have a 200-degree, it's supposed to be good to 200 degrees, but some of it melted in another spot on inside the engine compartment, so I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it, but I remember last time I put this thing on, it was a bit of a hassle. I don't know why. Hopefully it'll just go in this time. There we go. Yeah, that's on there. Nice, nice. Yep, looks like it's seated all the way around. Yeah, okay, so we'll tighten this up here. I'll tell you what, that Craftsman ratchet is it's garbage. I guess I've had it a while, but it just constantly wants to come out of gear and just not spin. And this cheapy Husky one I picked up at swap meet has just been way better. I'm going to take a trip to Harbor Freight and pick up a set of swivels. 1/4-inch drive and 3/8 is what I really need. That's on there. These things all line up now because I lifted the engine, so everything kind of clips down into place here like it should. And yeah, I'm going to fire this sucker up right here, right now. I think everything's hooked up. So that sounded real good, real smooth. That clicking noise you may have heard in the previous video when I was in there is no longer there. And I'm going to take you inside the vehicle here in a minute. I just want to say it wasn't fun. Hang on a second here. It is officially 1:45, so 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. So 3 hours and 15 minutes of time. You have to keep in mind I was filming, and I also decided to add some wire loom along the way. So that definitely added, that's probably a half hour or more just doing that. Looking for some stuff I needed. You saw what I had to put in to breaking the bracket apart and everything, but that's typical. You have to expect that one. Losing that bolt, that wasn't any fun. That was probably another 20 minutes or so. It's about a 2-hour job, I think. You know, if you got all your stuff out ahead of time. Let me show you the engine bay before I button that up. So I put wire loom here on all these three that needed it. I saw it where there was a factory Astro van and they had wire loom on these, which makes sense because the cover's here and you have this tube. And I was running this over the top of this. This is the coil line. I decided to run it underneath this time and put some wire loom on there to be safe. And I added some wire loom on the camshaft sensor. I'm going to go ahead and put some electrical tape on the ends of those real quick before I button this up. But you can just see this is just falling apart here, this big section of wire loom. And there's other things in this engine bay. These other wires coming off down here that can use it. Just one of those things, right? It looks neater, and it is definitely more protected now. I remember thinking on the way here today that clicking could have been like electricity spark jumping between wires or something, because they were overlapped to one another without wire loom on them. When I inspected them today, I didn't notice anywhere where that the electrical wires themselves, the insulation on them had worn off. That's why I just put wire loom over everything, and hopefully that'll, you know, make everything safe. Thanks for being here. Probably a long video. Apologize. Trying to do the best I can, but now you know that's a real job. It's a real job. So on a car like an S10 or something with the same 4.3 Vortec, that job's probably an hour max, if that. That's if you gotta like look for stuff to take the bracket apart. You know, you gotta grind those rivets out. So I think you could probably do that whole job in less than an hour, easy, on a regular vehicle. But in a van, stay tuned for the next one. I'll catch you next time.